Hey. All right, let me see. Let me know if I am crooked. I'm turning it. So let me know if this works. Let me put it in my little tripod. Oops. Usually I'm straight. Okay, good. Everybody can hear me. I had to get out of Periscope and come back in. So let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Well, we are dealing with the app. So sometimes things aren't that great app-wise, right? Hi, come again. Denise Red Dimples. Hi, Jamaican Nature. Nice to see you again. Hey, One Source Fan. How are you? Okay, we are good to go. So, this was actually, hey, Little Nuts Mommy Nicole. How are you? For some questions that were asked in my group, Credit Makes Sense. I see that I am starting and stopping, so I may have to pop out and pop back in. This is, it's a lot of people scoping right now, even in, hey, Katie, even in people I follow. It's a lot of people scoping right now. How dare they take over my Wednesday? Hopefully you guys are having a great time. I see some familiar faces. If anyone doesn't know me, my name is Nativa, the Frugal CrediTnista, America's leading lady of credit. And I am talking to you guys tonight about the credit rebuild. A lot of people in my, let me know if my sound went out. I just raised it up a little bit. A lot of people in my group, thanks tag 8705, Credit Makes Sense, which is on Facebook, wanting to know, hey, Reese Cakes, want to know how to build their credit. Now, we're not talking about, hi, Miss Virginia, Elena. We're not talking about the disputing process, right? We're talking about straight products to rebuild. Hey, Coupon Diva. So, most of you guys have seen the FICO pie, right? 35, 30, 15, 10, 10 are put in front of my face. Cover this in detail, one of my first scopes. So this is what makes up your credit score. Usually what we focus on here in the credit class on Wednesdays at 6:30 is the payment history section and the amounts owed section. And we also did a great scope in the new credit, which is your inquiry section. So when you are disputing negative inaccuracies or incomplete information, or to see if something can be verified, that's the payment history section. That's the blue. That's the biggest part of the FICO pie. So that's very important. Keeping your balances low. We're also going to talk about the proper way to use your credit card. That's another big one, right? That's the red. And then age, length of credit history, new credit, which is the bulk of that is your inquiries, and also credit mix, types of credit used. That's actually the least factor in your credit scores. So when you're talking about rebuilding your credit, I have 4 main things, and any good credit professional will list these 4 things and do all of these 4 things. Well, some big companies like Lexington Law will just focus on deletions. They don't spend too much time on educating you on credit management and all that stuff. But they are good at deletions. So that's what they specialize in. That's what they're good at. So there's nothing wrong with that. But that means that you have to take that extra step if you hire a big company such as that to go through the educational process, self-educational process on learning how to properly manage and then rebuild. So we have the deletions. That's out the way. Now we're going to get in what products work. I get a lot of questions on what do I apply for, because I'm getting a lot of denials. And I did a very extensive scope on understanding credit terms, because that's like numero uno or number 1. And a lot of companies such as Capital One would also let you know what reasons they will not approve you. Okay, so I'm going to go through your different scoring models. Do you have catch to view past scopes? I do have some of my scopes on there, but some of my material is part of an upcoming online class, how to soar your credit scores in 9 simple steps. Therefore, not all of them are on scope, because that is content that's going to be used for the online class. But I will be promoting that class like crazy. It's going to be good stuff. I'm actually going to scope tomorrow about some of the list of subjects that we're going to be covering. So tap the screen, share. I did see that one person shared it already. If you think this information will be valuable for anyone, thank you. And hey, replay viewers, you guys be coming in strong. I love you. And the hearts, multiple card using only versus multiple cards using them all, effects on score. I will cover that. Okay. So we got the FICO Pie. So first thing I want to talk about is knowing your score. This is big. Now I will tell you something about scores. A lot of people use Vantage Score because Credit Karma is free. That's fine. Thank you for the invite, and tap, tap, tap the screen. And that's fine. You can use that. It's not going to be accurate because most credit card companies uses FICO's bank card score. And so you're going to see a little bit of a fluctuation in the scoring model when you're applying for a card. So keep that in mind, but you can definitely use it. So let's go through what your scores are. And I can tell you now that those with the lower credit scores usually lets me know that they are not actively adding positive credit. So I forgot to go over the 4 things. Remove high priority negatives. That's the payment history. Number 2, add positive history. That's what we're going to talk about today if you need to. Number 3, keep balances super low. Number 4, maintain. So those are the 4 steps to building. We're going to talk about that adding new credit. So A, yes, know your credit score. That's imperative. So let's say your scores are between, the lowest is 300. So let's do like 300 to maybe 450, 500. If you're in that score, it typically means that you have nothing positive reporting, and therefore you need to add something new. And this is a score where no mainstream company is going to give you anything new, okay? So you will more than likely have to go with a secured product, a secured loan, or a secured credit card. And you would be best going with one that does not check your credit. So the loan will be a little bit more difficult. However, the card is very easy to do. The 2 main products that I use are First Progress and Open Sky. The deposit is $200 for Open Sky and $300 for First Progress. And the interest rates are not going to be as stellar. I know there are a lot of financial experts whom I happen to follow. Hi! There are a lot of financial experts whom I happen to follow who will tell you don't ever get a card where with a high interest rate, or don't ever get a card where an annual fee, or don't ever get a card where the interest is applied as soon as the transaction posts. But if you are in that credit score bracket, you do not have a choice. I cannot tell you how many credit reports that I see where the inquiries are from like Amazon.com. Hi, Rakita. That's a great credit specialist in the making right there. Have been looking at you, girl. You're looking good. She is learning all the good stuff, so she's going to be the bomb.com. So don't apply for those. You need to stick with the cards that are in your bracket right now. But do know, hi, Miss Tandale. That's another one. She's going to be an epic, super fantastic credit specialist as well. Okay, so do know that you cannot apply for the Apples, the Amazon Visa cards, Open Sky. There's only, if you go to Open Sky, I have a list of no credit check cards on my website, cards.mnhcreditsolutions.com. Cards, again, .mnhcreditsolutions.com, and it's a link to no credit check secured cards, because these are good for people who, oh, that's another one, thank you. For people who, hi, Tanya. For people who have those low scores. And you know what? I can tell you right now, when you add positive lines of credit with a score like that, it is going to soar in literally about 60 days. So when you see me post client results, I'm not going to tell you what their scores are, but I can tell you that when they see that leap of like 70, I'll say 60 plus points, between 60 and 120 points, that's because I've done nothing more than add some positive lines of credit and taught them how to use it. You're proof. And taught them how to use it. That is it. When you're at that score bracket, you need to add some forms of credit. So remember, a secured product works from 300 to about 500. Once you get from 500 to 550, you can qualify for other forms of credit. Okay? So for 500 to 550, I usually go with a merchant account, Fingerhut, My Jewelers, what's another one? Down to Shop. Gas cards apply right here. I'm not a big fan of store credit cards. Actually, I really don't like them at all. I'll tell you why, just briefly. They drop your scores more when you have the inquiry hit your credit report. So I don't really do too many of my clients do them store cards. But these are the type of accounts that work. Can you say the website? Yours. Cards.mnhcreditsolutions.com. What's considered positive credit? Positive credit is credit that you are paying on time, and that if it's a credit card, you're keeping low balances on it. We'll talk about usage in a little bit. So you didn't miss too much. And welcome. cards.mnhcreditsolutions.com. You can do a comment to get store costs. Yes, you know what, Virginia, sometimes people do get the hard inquiry on a shopping cart trick. Sometimes they do. Does it happen often, Virginia? No, but it does. I've done that with some of my clients. But, you know, when you're in, like when I was doing just straight credit repair specialist and credit repair consulting, I was like all for whatever you're going to put in your account, blah, blah, blah. But now that I'm more into financial coaching and credit coaching, I look for more quality products that are going to push you. I'm all about the rebuild. They're going to push you to your ultimate goals, your ultimate purpose, your ultimate destination. And most times, with my clients that are in that bracket, they got a little shopping problem. So the stores are just like, it's too much of a temptation. So I'm working more on changing financial habits. And the store cards get them in trouble. What cards you recommend to rebuild besides gas cards? Sure. So between the 300 to 500, then I'm going straight secured. Open Sky is my favorite because it's 200. Most of my clients can come up with that, no problem. If not, we work with a strict budget for 30 days. They'll come up with the money to do that. Okay. Then there's First Progress. First Progress has about 3 of them. Primer is another one. If they are, can apply for USAA, that's another great one. So those are the cards that I go for if they're like super low because they don't check your credit. Like you automatically get the secured card and then you just have to use it well. 500 to around 550, maybe even a little bit more, like 580 or so. That's when we're going to go with the secured Capital One may approve you if you're in the upper bracket, 550 to 580. Your bank may approve you at the upper bracket, 550 to 580, especially a credit union. Not the one that's on my site because it's a secured card. So the reason that secured cards work, the no credit check secured card, is because they're not checking your bad credit. Okay, they're not checking it. They're just going by the fact that you have this collateral, your security deposits, and they're going to give you, most people think that you're using your money. Nope, they put that money in an account. They extend you credit for the same match, and you are using that credit. Okay, so, and then I also have the merchant accounts. These actually work really good for any level, but I have my jewelers that starts off at 500. They are great. I have it on my site, cards.mnhcreditsolutions.com, and this is why. Number one, it's very easy to get approved for, okay? Number two, I'll give you the cons too. Number two, they put a super high credit limit. If you watch one of my previous scopes on what I do to bump my clients' credit scores up in 30 days or less, this was one of the products. And the utilization mark. So if you have overutilized credit, if you have no credit, but you at least got a 500 credit score, no open bankruptcies, and not like an overexorbitant amount of tax lien, this is the product. My jewelers, this is a $99, I think, admin fee or processing fee or something like that. And then you would need to buy something only within their store. So let me explain what a merchant card is. Hi, Amanda. So a merchant account is something that you, similar to a store, but you can only use it online at that store. Similar to Fingerhut. Fingerhut is another one. So Fingerhut, down to shop, My Jewelers. The benefit of My Jewelers, they give you a $5,000 credit limit right off the bat. That does wonders for your score, okay? It's expensive product, yes, but it works wonderfully. Down to shop gives you $1,500 to $3,500. Their upfront fees and what you have to spend for the first order, super low, and I'll tell you how to use those, but right now we're just reviewing the products, okay? Oh, thank you. Heart me up. Yeah, heart me up. Listen to Amanda. Oh, and Amanda does great scopes, and she's from Australia, which I want to visit soon. Fingerhut Fresh Start versus Revolving. Okay, yes. Make sure you put that up again because I didn't write that down. Fingerhut Fresh Start. Okay, so now you are like the 580, right? So we talked about 550 to 580. You can get the Fingerhut, maybe the secured product with your bank. A secured loan works very well at this point. A secured credit card with a credit union, and perhaps a secured product with Capital One. I was at about maybe a 580. You know what? The easiest ones that I've seen out here, because you know gas stations varies by location. So the one out here that was easy for us is Marathon. I don't know if you have a Marathon and Speedway. I don't know what they're called by you. Their name switches, but those are really easy. BP isn't bad. BP isn't bad at all, especially if you're around that 580 mark. The one thing about gas cards, please pay it off in full. Do not leave a balance at all. We're going to talk about usage in a little bit. So, okay, so we talked about 550 to 580, right? You can get the Capital One. You can get, should be able to get the Capital One. You can get the secured product with your, what credit? 500, that's it, 500. And they only check Equifax. I use them a lot. That's why I start off with the budget. Remember, I used to always say, when you mind your money, your credit scores will grow. Because you work on that budget, and it opens doors to more credit opportunities. So your score, then you start reducing what you pay for other expenses. A penny earned, penny saved is a penny earned. That's it, right? A penny saved is a penny earned. You're welcome. Okay, so 580 to 620. That's when you're definitely going to do the Capital One. Thank you so much for sharing. That's when you're definitely going to do 620 is really good. Like you can even get maybe a regular credit card and some gateway cards. I talk extensively about gateway cards. Thank you so much, WOH Micro. Let me know your name so I can know your name. That's when you're definitely going to get on there with, which are the other merchant cards do you recommend? Those are my main three. Fingerhut, My Jewelers, Down to Shop. Those are my main three because they work. And because Shaw brought this up, Miss Denise brought this up, I'll let you know, you're very welcome and thank you. I'll let you know that Fingerhut has two different products. Do not apply for the credit card. No. That'll work between like about 580 you may be able to get to the credit card. You want to do the Fresh Start program. How you do the Fresh Start program, you go into their site, find something. It's going to be some really overpriced stuff because they know who they're targeting. Okay. Remember, when you're at that lower bracket, you don't have the luxury of the more elite products, but you're building to get there. So you only have to do this subprime and gateway stuff for 11 months. 11 months, if that, like shorter. Okay. We'll get into that just in a little bit. I'm going to try to keep this brief and to the point. Okay. So what you do, you pick a product. Yes, it works, Ebony. Put it in your cart and it's going to give you the option. It'll pop up and it'll says, you know, would you like to apply for the Fingerhut Fresh Start program? Do that. So when you apply, this usually works from like 550 and Ebony and I forgot who else popped it up. I think that was Tondalia. Let me know what your scores were if you're comfortable with that when you first applied, because it does vary about what's on your report, but usually it's around 550 or so. So anyway, you click the Fresh Start program, you fill out the application, they'll say you're approved. Okay, 545. Okay, so what happens is that it's going to report as an installment loan first. Per the guidelines of Fingerhut, you must pay it off. They'll give you 6 months, but you can pay it off in 2 to 3 months, whatever the balance is. Do not pay it off the first payment. It's an installment loan. So in order for them to approve you for their credit card, which is eventually what you want, remember this is just a gateway to better forms of credit. In order for them to approve you, you have to pay it off in like 2 to 3 payments. You cannot pay it off. Once it transfers over to a credit card after your 2 to 3 payments, they're going to close out the installment loan, which does nothing negative to your scores at that point. You're going to get a credit card and they usually boost your credit card limit with Fingerhut. From there, you probably charge something on it really low for like, maybe if you keep it for 11 months, set up auto pay minus $6, leaving it for 6 months. Okay, leave it for 6 months. Leave it for 6 months. You probably charge something on it, the Fresh Start program. So you're probably going to charge something on it within an 11-month period, maybe 2 to 3 times because, and you really got to look for sales. I'm telling you, this stuff is really overpriced, but it's a great product and a great gateway card. Okay. Oh, one of my favorite scopers just come in. You would do this, CC. Okay. So that's the Fresh Start program. Now, if you're over 620, that's when I start telling my clients to look for better forms of credit. Okay. Well, they tell us which one will be approved for. Who is they? Fingerhut Fresh Start is just Fingerhut Fresh Start if that's what you're referring to. Let me know if that's what you're referring to. Does Down to Shop only check Equifax? My Jewelers check Equifax. I'm gonna have to ask him. Down to Shop, I know he doesn't check all 3, but I'll have to ask. Yes. What, Ebony? Let me know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, honey. Let me know. So FingerHub will only give you the option of the Fresh Start program when you use it directly like I told you to. If you go in with anything like $550 and all that and try to do a credit card, you're going to get denied. That's why you go through the stuff you know you're going to get approved for. Doing it the way I'm telling you will do it. Okay. Doing the way that I'm telling you to do it will reduce the amount of inquiries, hard inquiries on your credit report, because anytime you are like under 550, every little thing you do tanks it. What score should you have for my jewelers? 500. So I'm going to say it tanks it, but that little inquiry starts to affect you a little bit more. Whereas my clients with like upper 700s, sometimes they don't even get a drop from their inquiries. Like it doesn't even affect them. But when you're at that lower market, it affects you. So that's why I'm only telling you about products that are going to approve you. Okay, well, you don't have to worry about getting those denials. And another thing that I love is the find a card feature. So even when you're at that 620, that's moving into the fair market. Okay, so you should be able to get a Capital One using the Find a Card feature. There's also Milestone Gold. There's Credit One. So 580 to 620, these are the markets that you go over. I'll repeat them. Milestone Gold, Credit One, and then your Capital One. It's the Platinum One. Use the Find a Card pre-qualification feature, because if you get that hard inquiry, we don't want that, right? So the Find a Card feature matches you to a card. If you match, go ahead and apply for it. It's Milestone Gold, Credit One, and Capital One. Now, a lot of people mentioned to me about First Premier. First Premier interest rate sucks. 36% is ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. For a 620, 580 to 620. Yes, 580 to 620. Some of my clients have gotten it for maybe around 570s, '80s, '60s, somewhere in between if they've gotten it. I would only do it only because you still are getting your way back to better forms of credit. Once my clients started getting Capital One, maybe a Credit One, and then a Finger Hut, or even a Mita Jewelers, we're kind of working it. Once you get Capital One, that's the one you want to keep for a while. And let me know if you have questions on this. That's the one you're going to keep for a while. The Credit Ones, the My Jewelers, the Finger Huts, those you are just using as a gateway to better forms of credit. Questions. I got First Premier. You know what? I'm going to be real with you. I forgot I got First Premier when I had my bankruptcy after I was rebuilding. I completely forgot, but I was actually cleaning up some financial records and I had them. So what about the clothing books that come in the mail with the credit offer? No, honey, no. I got Credit One when I was around 524, 25, 23. Yeah, it varies. Like I said, around that 580 is when I usually apply for it, but you can get them for a little bit lower if you use the Find a Card feature. It also depends on what else is reporting on your credit too. So thank you for letting me know that. Usually with 525 to 550, I'm going for the sure deal. Maybe around that 550, I might do the pre-qualification feature with Credit One. They typically do not approve my clients. Oh, wow. Capital One varies, but Credit One typically don't approve my clients unless they're like around that 560 to 570 mark. But then again, a lot of my clients, I'm in real estate, so a lot of my clients have been adversely affected by the real estate market. That might be why. I got Capital One at 545 too. Did you get the secured Capital One or the regular, Denise? Does Capital One report the secure card? Absolutely. Nothing I'm giving you does not report. And I like him to report to all three. So everything that I have mentioned reports to all three. But try to find a card feature. If people are getting approved at 545 and all of that, 525, 540 with Credit One, go for it. Secured, yes. Okay, secured, yeah, you can. That's the 500 to 550. You should be able to do the secured Capital One card. So First Premier, there's nothing wrong with First Premier. I just think that their interest rate sucks, but it is a definite gateway. I have used them. Queen, you were denied. Capital One secured. Credit One looks at Equifax. Credit One looks at everything, mainly, I believe, TransUnion. If you were denied a secured, it must be something else was going on. Maybe you had an account with them. Those are more recent. They usually tell you why you were denied. Read those credit denials. That is lovely. Anytime my client is denied, I go over with them in detail what it is, why they were denied, what those reason codes are, because it's valuable information in your credit improvement journey. So don't just look at, oh, dang, I got it denied. No. A, if you got denied, you can get a free credit report. Get that. B, you are told why you were denied. So now you want to go in there and you want to review, okay, what is denied? Because your main thing is your main objectives. I have this in my class. Yes, I have this in my class. Your main objectives: soar that credit score, strengthen your credit profile, look good, and meet lender qualification guidelines. So when you're trying to meet those guidelines, look at that denial letter, because it lets you know specifically what is going on. Okay, so we talked about credit cards. You might be Nativa. Why are we talking credit cards all the time? Well, let's bring out the FICO pie again. Payment history, paying on time, a must. Okay, I cannot tell you when I have newer clients come in, oh my God, I must sort my scores and they went bad again. I'll explain it, Ebony. And that's pretty much because they got these gateway cards and then they were late. You cannot mess up with the gateway cards, because if you screw up with the gateway cards, who's going to give you some credit after that? So don't spend. Spend with the notion of you are going to spend very, very little and you're going to pay on time. Okay? Very, very little, pay on time. Credit cards, all payment history goes into here, no matter what the account type. Utilization, this is predominantly, nope, they'll tell you which one they pulled. Number one, teacher. They'll tell you which bureau they pulled it from, and then you get it from that bureau. So credit cards amount for most of this. So that means you're getting the benefit of credit cards here, payment history, and the benefit of credit cards here, amount owed. 65%, not the full, but the bulk of it, comes from credit cards. That's why I use credit cards the most when I am soaring credit scores, because you get all that. Whereas if you are getting a loan, which is, I had a credit builder loan. I love my credit builder loans. I tell my clients to get credit builder loans. They're awesome because you get that little usage of the credit mix. And the more you are able to handle different types of credit, it looks great. But it's very, very puny in here. I mean, super puny, right? Installment loans, but you do get the benefit of paying on time from here. But if you want to soar it quickly, you need a credit card because you get all that goodness right there. Okay? So, but what are your options for a loan or a non-credit card in your own name? If you don't want it in your own name, you can't get an authorized user. FICO 8, which is the second to newest version, does not pay that much attention to authorized user accounts, but the earlier versions of FICO will. So that is an option. An authorized user account, somebody you know who has awesome credit. You get their credit history, their utilization, all that. Their age. That's a very great benefit of an authorized user account. You don't get the card. You can, but I advise you not to. And you just get all that good history. How many inquiries do you make them in to have at a time, and by how much should you space them out? I don't do too many inquiries. And that's why I'm telling you, like, at what bracket to apply for it, because I know you're going to get approved because of that. Because, I mean, I'm telling you, when your scores are lower, like every little thing is bing, 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 like it just, inquiries especially really drops them. So I try to keep the inquiries of people who are rebuilding. It's going to be a little bit more. People who are rebuilding, we're going to try to keep those inquiries to about 4 a year. If you are not rebuilding, I don't see a reason why you would be pulling your credit scores, like maybe 1 to 2. I do know that TransUnion specifically says that 6 in a year is like danger zone. And based on some statistics that happened from a study that Vantage Score did, people who had more than 6 inquiries were at a higher risk of being 90 days late, or they were at higher risk of filing bankruptcy. It's like a sign of desperation or financial danger impending. So they say about 6. And that was a study done by Vantage. My clients typically do about every 3 months we're applying for something like that. First month we're probably doing, okay, let's do a secured product, and let's do, depending on my scores, let's do X, Y, and Z. So that may be 2. This is when we first starting. 3 to 4 months later, we're applying for something else, right? 3 to 4 months later, we're applying for something else. So, it can be like 3 to 4 when they're with me. But their scores are constantly doing what? Up, 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 up. So I think them inquiries are well worth it, because you have to think about this. The FICO pie. Here are the inquiries. You see that little purple? Okay? Because you need the new credit if you have nothing feeding into this. Okay? You got to be paying on something. I messed up. I'm trying to get my car. Dealership pulled my... Totally different. Totally different. I have a scope up on catch.me/frugal CrediTnista. Are you in my group, Tanya? I think the link is on there. If you're in my group, I think you're in my group. Go ahead and look at the inquiries one. And that one goes into detail about inquiries. So you'll get all the inquiries. But you need that because this little thing right here means nothing when you are filling up this and doing it adequately, right? It means absolutely nothing. Secured credit build alone, I mentioned that. Denise, you are. And you're in the other group. You're in my test group. That's how you got all this bomb info and why you're about to be your own credit specialist. Credit makes sense. So Miss Denise, you are in the great group. She's actually testing out all the info for the upcoming class that's coming on. And you see, if you're in the Dreamcatchers group with Tiffany the Budgetnista and you see her post, you see that obviously my content is on point, right, for my class. Obviously my content is on point. I have 4 groups. I have one that I do for my workshops here in Chicago. Oh, thank you. I have another one for, I do a rent-to-home workshops here. So I have another one for them. Then I have a test group for my Soar Your Credit Scores and 9 Simple Steps for my online content. And then I have a general one that I just created. My coach was like, get you a regular group. You don't have one for the people that follow you. And that is Credit Makes Sense. So, well, those are people that paid for the workshops. So obviously it's just continuous support for the rent to home and, the other workshop that I'm doing. And then the test group started a little bit ago. So we're still going over some other info. So that's full. So that's why I did Credit Makes Sense for everyone else. But it's still going to be some great content in there as well. So loans, we talked about authorized user account. Yes, we talked about authorized user account. Co-signers. Please don't screw up your co-signer friends, please, family members. But it's a great way. You're in Chicago. Okay, I definitely have to use it. Oh, thank you, a genuine butterfly. I appreciate that. Co-signing is great if you are good with your budget. The worst thing you can do is to mess up a relationship for somebody who entrusted you with their good credit and let you be on there. So what I typically have moms with children do is if you're going to be helping them out anyway, put it in your name only if you can afford the payment and then have them on it. Or sometimes when you buy something, and this can increase your score a little bit, but it does work wonderfully if you are looking to help your child, if you're in a position to help your child. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. To add them on to, like if you're buying a car, if you're buying something you're financing, add them onto it just to start building up a little bit of credit. Yeah, that's what it says. It's really, I don't recommend it. But that's why I mentioned parent-child, and I'm talking like young child, and you're taking over the payments. But it is an option to build credit. I get that a lot. I have my child here. How can I help them build their credit? Thank you, Chinese. Ooh, give me your real name. I'm sorry, honey. I don't want to say Ge, because I know it's not Ge. I know that's not it, right? So, okay. We did the authorized user. We talked about the co-signing. Only, if you're over the payments and you can monitor it, or they're over the payments and they can monitor it. Student loans, although we hate them, as long as they're positive, deferred, forbearance, whatever, hardship, as long as they are reporting as okay, that history does keep us having a score. Cars, that's an option. Obviously, when your credit scores are super low, the interest rate is going to suck. But the payment history does keep you within a scoring model. And rents. Not all property management firms will do this, but there's Rent Bureau and then there's Rental Karma. Rental Karma only reports to TransUnion. So if you're in the States, I know my clients in Maryland, they use TransUnion a lot. Illinois uses TransUnion a lot. This works wonders for boosting up that score a little bit. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Bash. Works wonders for that. So now we're going to talk about how to properly use it. I have a little note here from, who is this? I'm sorry, I don't remember. I think it was Ebony who asked me about usage. And Ebony, I asked you to remind me of a question you had. So if I didn't answer anything, Miss Ebony, let me know. Or if I missed anybody else's question, this is the time. This is like the wind down. Usage for credit cards. There is a huge discussion on there. There's actually a lot of professionals who say 50%, which is way too high. And then there's the common thoughts of 30%. I will tell you this. 30 is your max. If you have a $1,000 credit card and you spend 300, you're still losing a little bit of points. Okay? So X out 30% if you are in the serious rebuild stage. My clients who I soar in 30 days or less, even 60 days, we are in the 10% bracket, meaning less than 10%. $200 card, you're spending $19 or less per month. Why? Because you are maximizing the scoring system that way. When you go up to 20%, you lose a little bit. Do you leave a balance or paying full? Great question. When you go up to 30%, you start losing some points. You go over 30, okay, stop it. If you are in the rebuild stage, 10% or less, okay? Leaving a balance. Leaving a balance is not required to generate history. It is not required, but something needs to report. If you get a statement with the balance, that's what will report on your credit report, that amount. Okay? Do you have to leave a small amount? Great job. Which score is more accurate? Okay, thank you. I'm going to write it down. Which score? Yes, number one teacher is more accurate. Okay, so back to if you to leave a balance or not. I'm going to tell you this. The lower scores I have seen, if you leave $5, even $1, I don't know what it triggers in the FICO scoring system, like they haven't admitted it, but it does boost your score. You do get a few more points for that. I don't know why. Maybe even $12. Like it does something within that scoring model, as long as it's low, and it does boost your scores just a little bit more. Do most of the secured cards become regular unsecured cards? Not the no credit check ones. No, the no credit check ones will forever be an secured card. So therefore, you're just using it to get a great payment history so that you can boost your credit scores and then get qualified for a better card. All of those things I mentioned, those gateway cards, I call them gateway cards because the terms suck, the interest rate sucks, but the main thing is you are proving yourself and opening the doors so you can get to better forms of credit. And I did the exact same thing. Okay, I was able in 18 months to get back into the 700s with both a bankruptcy and an unpaid tax lien on my credit report. So everything I'm telling you, I did exactly myself. And I did all this as a credit professional. That's the bad part, okay? So make sure your credit specialist has experience of things. Because I was slaying bad debt off of people's credit reports. And I never experienced it myself. I just was going through the motions of what I had been taught and trained and all that good stuff. But it wasn't until I went through it and experienced it, I was like, oh, okay, well now I know, do this, you learned all the tricks as you go through it and do it yourself. So that makes a difference. So keep that in mind. How to use it. Any card approval for 620 plus. 620 plus, you should really get Capital Ones. I want to take your, it'll be ready. I switched from Teachable to Thinkific. So now I got to transfer everything. I mean, I love the Teachable platform, but I'm telling you guys, I'm not tech savvy at all. So when I went through questions, like somebody got to be there. You have to be there. And they weren't quite there, but Thinkific has been on it. So it should be ready next month. I will announce it. I'll start showing you guys table of contents and everything. It's going to be so dope. Anyway, what was I talking about? Usage, right? We said less than 10%. We said the 20%. No 30% if you are in the rebuilding stage. I missed a question. I'm so sorry. Post it again and I promise I'll answer it. Which scores are more accurate? All of them are accurate. You were just worried about the one that your lender is using. Credit card for scores over 620. So 620 is an interesting bracket. You're gonna get Capital One. You're gonna get Credit One. You may not get Barclay. That's like 650, somewhere in there. Milestone Gold is a 620, but that's a lower one as well. That's an interesting bracket. Like if you're at that point, you should have a few little gateway cards, maybe one or two, and maybe 2 Capital Ones. Capital One will allow you to get 2. So you'll probably have the Platinum and a Quicksilver and both of the ones with the annual fee on there. But usually at about that point, we have 2 Capital Ones and maybe a gateway card. Okay? But Capital One is the only one I know for sure, that at 620 you should be able to get. All the rest of them are kind of, I wouldn't want you to waste your inquiry on I would rather you work to bump up, take about 2 months or so to try to bump up to 640, 650. Thank you. I don't know if that's Rita or Brandon, but thank you to try to get to that next step. Okay, going back to Ebony questions about which credit score is more accurate. Honestly, every credit scoring market algorithm is accurate. How long should you expect to repair? Best score / route for preparing for home purchase. How long should you expect? Rita, hi. Okay, so every credit scoring is accurate. You know, the one that you're going to focus on for purchases, though, home purchases, car purchases, all that good stuff is FICO. Where are you going to get it? Credit check total or my FICO. I have a Capital One already, but I'm killing my score by paying off a charged off account. How can I boost? So you are paying on a charged off account. And how are you killing your score if you're paying off a charged off account? I guess I'm confused. And you have a Capital, you paid a charged off account. And right now you have a Capital One. And what is the balance? Is it high? Is it low? Is it under my 10%? Under 20%? Under? Yes, it's under. So clarify that. Yes, it's high. That's why you're killing your score. You need to work on that utilization. Remember, this is utilization. When you keep those high balances on that card, you're losing out. It's going doo-doo-doo-doo. This is utilization. Stop it. But you know what? If it's usually high, my jewelers, remember, $5,000 back on there. That way you'll get more available credit that you're not using. So you're not going to use it, but it's just simply going to, let's think of it emailing me now. It's simply going to tilt the utilization in your favor. My score was up there, but then I paid the charge off and it dropped my score. How long ago did you pay the charge off? And Ebony, let me know if I answered your question. And then another person mentioned how you should use your cards versus multiple cards. You do not, that's why. I'll tell you about the reporting date. You do not need to use all of your cards and keep all of them at 30%. Like, no. I have one card in rotation. And I teach my clients to have like their main card. And then if they have a couple of gateway cards, they'll probably use them twice more before they move up to another form of credit. Or if they already have great credit cards already, we are going to kind of work with them every now and then. So I'll give you an example of me because I want to use anybody else's information. When you pull your credit weekly with Credit Karma updates, does that affect your score? Nope. Anytime you pull your credit report, it never affects it. Even when Credit Karma does not affect it. So I'll tell you what I do. I have a main card and it gives me cash back, 30%. That's my main card. I like cash back. And then I have Discover, which every now and then gives you cash back based on some type of rewards program, and they give you up to 5%. So sometimes if it says, hey, if you use gas or groceries, you get 5% for the next 3 months. So Discover is going to be my card for that, for that 5 to, whatever time frame they give me to use that card. And then I have a Barclays. I love Barclays. That's cash back too. And they pay, if you pay utilities, you get double cash back. So they pay my utility bills. And all of it is automated. So utility bills, and then here come Barclay, and then Barclay come in. Do you get points for each card separately or just points for each card separately? Credit score for Discover. I got Discover when I was at about a 680, and then once I went over to the 620s, they 620, 720s, they switched my card over to, I guess, a better product. But those are my three. We have a American Express as well that I very rarely use. I don't know why, but I don't. But we have an American, I guess just because I wanted it. I barely, your credit is good. You're just like, I could get American Express. So I was like forbidden fruit when your credit is jacked up. Like you can, but I barely use it. I just wanted it just because I could never get it before because my credit was so jacked up. So I don't use it. So that's for that. Multiple cards, like I said, you don't have to use each one. So like I said, keep it in rotation. Use it every now and then. Have a purpose. The main thing is keep the balances super low. Yes, I was like, oh my God, I'm worthy. I am worthy. Boy, they was denying me like crazy back in the day. So that felt really good. So if any of this info is valuable, I do have my understanding the basics. I missed a question. I don't remember. How do you have inaccurate info deleted that has been reported accurate? Oh, you got to go in. I have a client going through that today. And I mean, let me tell you what Equifax did to my client. Because I was like, they did what? They verified something? Now, I do a lot of advice on how, little loopholes to get things deleted. And when I get something that's like blatantly wrong and it's causing my client scores to tank, like I We can take like 70 points. I mean, she almost cried. Like, we did a lot of work to get up there, right? We did a lot of work. We've been working together for about 5 months now. And so when they updated this wrong, I was like, what? No, we ain't doing no letter. Call them. Let me coach you through this phone call. Let me get you. It's a cell phone bill. You know what? I'll tell you. First, I would direct the information to the cell phone provider and make sure that they update it correctly. Then at the same time, I'll send a dispute over to the credit bureaus. And you can do this, I prefer mail. You did this already. What did the original creditor say? Because ultimately, it falls on the original creditor who is reporting the information. When you get an invite for a card, how does that affect your score? It doesn't. Equifax verified Verizon with me, and it had a police report, and Verizon sent a letter. Equifax is doing this to my clients too. I don't know what's on Equifax. So let me tell you what we did. We got the government involved. Your state attorney general's office is a phenomenal tool. They will actually intervene on your behalf. Okay. And I actually go to your state's attorney general's office. In addition to Equifax, who's in Atlanta, their state attorney general's office. I file a complaint with both. I give backup information so that they know what's going on. So attach whatever you send them, attach your proof. And then I go to the Better Business Bureau as well, because that lets you talk to a higher level executive. So that's the only reason when you go to the Better Business Bureau, because everything is automated in the credit bureau systems. Everything is automated. So if you want to get to an individual and one who can make a decision, like sometimes they put you in their legal department, then that's what the Better Business Bureau allows you to do. Do they really resolve disputes? No, but at least you get a live person and you're yanked out of that automated systems. You're yanked out of there and you get in front of a live person. So the Better Business Bureau in the Attorney General's office. If it continues, you go to the CFPB. If it continues, chat it up with a lawyer, send over that notice of intent to sue. I guarantee you I'll give you a lawyer who is the bomb. I actually got 2 who I use, 3. But 2 the most that I use a lot. They are thebomb.com. Even if you get them to write a letter for you, honey. I got 1 because Experian was tripping with these suspicious letters and a couple of other things. They ended up calling him directly and was like, listen, don't even sue us no more. We'll settle. We'll pay your clients $500, which isn't a lot, for you to just stop suing us. Okay? I disputed online first. No, you don't dispute online. No. When you got something really legit, well, I guess disputing works sometimes online. But I don't do it too much. I figure when my clients, pay me, then they want me to use the most effective routes because they can go online themselves and do it. But if you're paying a professional, then you want someone who's going to go through the proper channels. Yes, certified or first priority mail are my go-to. So I don't do too much online stuff. Like personal info is probably where online stops. Is the fee for my journalist charged to the card? The initial fee is from you, then afterwards. But they can charge us to the card. Let me ask her. Her name is Sharash. Let me ask her. Email me, info@mnhcreditsolutions.com in case I forget. Don't you waive some right disputing online? You do. You do. You waive a couple of them. I'll give you the 2 main ones. Number 1, according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they are supposed to notify the original creditor within 5 days of the dispute. Another one, how are they able to say they verified when it's obviously the automated system? Another reason why that you give up is your right to come back and ask for method of investigation and all that good stuff. Full disclosure under Section 609 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So you give that up. And that's when you eventually have to go in writing anyway. So you can redispute and request an investigation based on X, Y, and Z in writing after you do it online. The reason why they're able to verify it is because not every dispute goes to the original creditor for proof. It's all automated. And so if they can match that account to your personal information, if they can match whatever the original creditor had in their system already that proved that it was yours, then that's all they're going to rely on. They're not going to conduct a thorough investigation. And when we called, this was today, they specifically said, well, we just, looked at our systems and go by what the original creditor said. And I'm like, what kind of investigation is that? I should have recorded it. Why do you advise not signing letters to collection agencies? Because what has happened in the past, and this doesn't happen a lot with some of the smaller companies, but what has happened in the past is that those signatures have jumped onto other documents. Remember, when we're asking for information, we are asking for proof. Proof with our written signature, proof of usage, proof of full accounting of the debt. We're asking for proof. And so we're giving them our signature for them to put on that proof. That kind of defeats the purpose. So letter demanding method of verification is fine. Method of verification to the credit bureaus, I'm hoping you're saying. You can do that. But when you're working with some really inaccurate stuff, like after I send a dispute letter and I might make a phone call, I'm filing complaints after. They're like, no, you're not going to tell me something that's legitimately inaccurate and I got proof. I'm filing a complaint right then and there because obviously I need to yank myself out of, oh, thank you, Tawana. I need to yank myself out of that electronic system. I don't want you going back. What that happened to me for pulling when I silent is always put the state in the signature. Okay, but I don't want you going back into this automated system and re-verifying stuff. Nah, now we're going a legal route. Now I'm filing a complaint because I got proof that it's inaccurate. I sent you proof that it's inaccurate. And now you sitting here being a butthole telling me you're not going to delete inaccurate stuff that's affecting my credit? Are you serious? No, that's not acceptable. I mean, I will file a complaint. Yes, please do. BBB, State Attorney General's office, yours and theirs. I usually do 2 at a time. Another option is the, so do you provide a product or service to teach people this? Yes! Look at my Periscope coach. This is my Periscope coach, you guys. Tawana B. Smith. So, if this is dope info, I have 2 products available right now. I have my Soar Your Credit Scores, Understand the Basics. Denise is on here. She'll tell you that it is filled with a lot of info. She has been posting in the group about some of the info on here as well. Lays it out. Is it out? Contact me, Miss Naturals, info@mnhcreditsolutions.com. And I also have my DIY credit repair guide. This is the truth. Let me show you guys right quick. Just some of the info that I have on here. Oh, thank you. I didn't even know you had the book, honey. So some of the stuff that is on here, but I walk you through everything. I give you over 100 dispute letters, tell you how to use them, both basic, moderate, and advanced techniques. You get a tracking log. What's from the credit bureau's #1 teachers. So you get all of that in the guide. The link in my bio, I don't even know what link is in my bio, but if you want the guide, you can go to store.mnhcreditsolutions.com, store.mnhcreditsolutions.com. You'll also see the info for my course as well. But both of them are the bomb. I made sure, I mean, how do you know which one you'll need? If you don't know anything, great, #1 teacher. Thank you, Tawana. If you don't know anything, like what is credit? What is a credit score? Why are they all different? What laws am I pulling on when I pull? Is credit repair legal? What makes it legal? What are tips for disputing? That is the e-course. If you're like, okay, I'm ready to get ready. I got my credit reports. How do I know about systems? How do I get out of these electronic systems? What are these electronic systems? What are tips from avoiding it? I do that in both the guide and the course. So I will actually do a combo sale just for you guys. You got to email me. Okay, right now the guide is $59. The course is, oh, that's for a credit consultant. Thank you. I was like, what bio? You know, we switch it up based on our scopes, right? The link in the bio. So that's to schedule a consultation with me. The link in the bio. I'll walk you through everything for your consultations. We can change those links up. So I'll do a package deal for those, for the replay and for this. You must email me. Right now the guide is $59. The class is $27. I will give both for $65. I see signs driving around town advertising for, some of them are legit, some of them not. I'm telling you, when most people who, like, I'm in Illinois and I do everywhere except for Georgia and South Carolina. So when I have people that are like, okay, you're great, but I need to sit down with somebody. Like, they really, like, if Skype isn't working or FaceTime, or even, I haven't done Tango in forever, but I used to. Then I have some, I'm telling you, my network is fierce. It's small, but it's fierce, honey. My friend got a letter from my credit agent telling her that her dispute will be ignored if it comes. Girl, she need to frame that and send that to the straight to the FTC. Okay, straight to the FTC. Oh, you mean the credit bureaus. So they do this because it's a stall tactic. That's a great example. I have an example of that in the next class that's coming up next month. That's a great example. That's a stall tactic. And that means that she needs to either dispute with something else. So right now, let's say she said, I don't know, the balance is wrong. Or a general dispute like, oh, can you verify this? It looks like, you see that? That's real. Can you verify this? It doesn't quite look right or match my records. So now she either has to come in with a different dispute, give them more information to support her dispute, but that is allowed. Yeah, there's a number of reasons why a dispute can be ignored. I actually posted this on my Facebook page, M&H Credit Solutions. The main reasons are a template off of the internet. Those have been used a gazillion and one times. In the DIY guide and actually on the, I just added this to the Soar Your Credit Scores Understanding the Basics e-course. I just added how to properly use the templates and how to write your dispute letter because I got a lot of questions on it, so I added it on there. And so you don't use that template. Oh, the Stop Hiding book. Yes, that's on collections. Okay, so you use a template just like you use a template for a resume. That's how you use the templates off how do you form it? What do you say for this? But you put in your own words. What's the info? You have to email me. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Bash. Email me info@mnhcreditsolutions.com. You know what? That's exactly, number one teacher, why I wrote Tuned In. Hi. That is exactly why I created the course that I'm writing now, because there's so much conflicting information. Let me tell you this. If you find everything inaccurate and it's truly inaccurate and you got documentation showing it's inaccurate, then you dispute it. As far as going through your credit report and saying dispute everything and say it's not yours, it's the dumbest advice I've ever heard. If you do it by yourself, my book on collections is Stop Hiding, 10 Proven Strategies for Facing Debt Collectors Head On. And it is dealing solely with collections. And I actually wrote this book because I kept answering the same questions over and over again. So I said, let me write a book. And it's been doing awesome sauce. Thank you guys, especially at my workshops. I need to start marketing more online for Amazon sales, but I've been doing great with CreateSpace and all that good stuff. But that's why I worded it. Don't dispute not mine for everything. That is like a huge no-no. Does it work sometimes? Yeah. But now you said it's not yours. What do you think they're going to do? Oh, thank you, love. They're just going to compare that stuff, look on it. And it's so easy to verify. It's not yours. Is it on Amazon? Yes, it is on Amazon. It's so easy to verify that it's not yours. So basically that it's yours. It's so easy to verify. I would rather you state that something is wrong. The balance is wrong. The creditor is wrong. Like, I'd rather you do that. Do something like that. But don't just say it's not yours. Don't do that. Like, when I hear people say, oh, I just went in and disputed that everything was not mine and everything was removed. And I know that eventually that stuff is going to come back. It's going to come back. If you are on Tiffany the Budgetnista's Live Richer group, you will see a post by Sam Doles. Search it. And she used to say that. Like, she got really upset with me when I was like, But then she posted back and she was like, you were right. I did it your way. And look at this. Look what happened. She was like, my bad. And now we're friends. I love me some Sam. Now we're friends. Because it works when you do factual disputes. But if you do want to check and see if something is legit, then pinpoint something. Don't just say, oh, this whole account just don't look right. It must not be mine. It's not mine. Please delete. Like, what? No, stop that. Stop. So email me for the bundle, info@mnhcreditsolutions.com. My 3-year-old, I called him a 2-year-old yesterday. He called me out on it. He's like, no, 3. It's like, my bad, boo. You did turn 3 recently. He just woke up. I got to feed my babies. I hope this was great info. Thank you so much for the hearts. I love it. If you're interested in the combo package, it's info@mnhcreditsolutions.com. Yes, don't use it as excuse. Thank you, Miss Denise. That's a great one. Don't use the excuse. It's a valid contract. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, guys. So thanks for tuning in. I got to go to my group and pick my Friday Q&A topic. Feel free to join. Credit makes sense with the Frugal CrediTnista. Thank you so much, Miss NWF Naturals. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your evening. I will see you Friday at noon Central Standard Time. Noon Central Standard Time.